We're live. It is New Year's Day, 2024. Brand new year. Happy New Year's, guys. Um, sorry, my cat has decided at this time, after ignoring me all day, which is just fine with me, by the way, um, has decided to march into the room and announce her presence and demand some attention. So, according to the title of our live session, we're going to talk health for the New Year's. Always a favorite topic. However, it is seldom. I'm doing some stuff online as we talk, just bringing a few things up, maybe. Um, it's seldom ever really truly addressed. What we do is talk about aspects of health. We talk about, improving our cardio health, our aerobic base. We talk about increasing our strength. We talk about um, slices, but we never put the whole thing together. We never talk about well-being and true health. In true health, things can't be separated. We can't talk about um, diet in any aspect that eliminates, that is extreme in any way, which is a funny thing for me to say as a vegan. A vegan is a rather extreme, some might say the most extreme, although personally I would say a carnivore diet is more extreme. Nitpicking, you know. I say that because I'm a vegan. Carnivore, someone on the carnivore diet would say that because they're on that diet. However, I fully admit that my diet is extreme, and it might not be optimally the healthiest of all diets. However, I am a vegan for ethical reasons, and I do my best to make it as healthy as it can possibly be. I have a variety of foods in my diet. I'm a whole food, plant-based vegan, meaning that I don't eat artificial stuff. Not often. Back in my traveling days, I would occasionally. You can get an Impossible Burger, you can get a Beyond Meat burger, you can get all kinds of vegan junk food. When I was racing, when I was running, 100-mile races, 24-hour races, 50 miles, 50 Ks, and traveling, I might do something like that. But home-based, I do my best at plant-based. No junk whatsoever. I try to balance out the fact that it is a bit of an extreme diet by making it as healthy as possible. I don't know if... Sorry, my cat keeps distracting me. Lewis is here. It is what it is. Happy New Year, Lewis. Hope you're feeling well. I hope you had a good holiday. So we can't break things up into aspects of fitness, aspects of well-being, aspects of health, because it's all connected and it all has to be addressed. If you're not, bottom line, if you're not feeding your microbiome, then you're not going to be overall healthy. We are as healthy as our gut allows us to be. And if we're not feeding our gut, we're not going to be healthy. That's going to include a wide variety of stuff. That's one thing that a vegan diet has, or a plant-based diet has, over a strictly carnivore style diet, is I have thousands of plants that I can choose from to eat, thousands of fruits, thousands of vegetables, legumes, nuts, all kinds of stuff. Lewis says it was overwhelming December. It was an overwhelming December, but it's time to leave that behind. Look towards the future. That's the wonderful thing about New Year's, is it's a great reset. Everything's going forward now. As you just said, you leave it behind. You got this whole new year to look forward to. Yeah, it's going to contain some crap moments. Every year does. But now, you're more capable than you were last year. You handle stress better. You've been through it. You've been through the fire. You know how to approach it just a little bit better than you did in 2023. And we all know better than 2022 or 2021, which were absolute crap years of being trapped in the pandemic and our response to the pandemic, for good or bad. Lewis says it's going to be a rocky 24, but let's get it. But again, because 23 was what it was, you're ready for that rocky 24. Which is another aspect of health that we're talking about. That if you are ignoring your emotional well-being, if you're ignoring your resiliency, you're not going to be healthy, because it's going to affect your blood pressure, it's going to affect your immune system. The thing is, we're a web-like existence. If you tug on one strand, the entire system vibrates. As go one aspect of fitness, one aspect of wellness, one aspect of well-being, health, goes the whole thing. So that's the importance of the microbiome, of supporting that gut bacteria. Is we're more bacteria than we are human. We're literally just a carrying function for microbes. Our friend Osiris is here. Happy New Year's, brothers and sisters, listening in intermittently as I take down Hollywood lights and decor. You know what? I really appreciate New Year's Day, taking down the Christmas stuff instead of waiting until February or March, or for some, indefinitely. I'm not speaking specifically of my neighbors, but I'm not speaking specifically of my neighbors. I hope they're not listening to this. Destiny Forever Walks, PhD is here. Happy New Year. Eric, I am listening here. And It Is What It Is wishing everyone a Happy New Year, and is again clapping Osiris on the back for getting shit done. That's the way to do it. This is the perfect subject for our friend Destiny to be here. Talking about well-being, talking about health. Here's the thing. The guys that might tune in, the majority of people that might tune in to catch any of this, they're all about fitness. They might be ultra runners, they might be power lifters, they might be Olympic lifters, they might be burpee practitioners, body weight practitioners. But if you're just focusing on that, and you're not eating right, you're not getting the right sleep, and I'm not just talking about the amount of sleep or the amount of time that you spend in bed, the quality of your sleep. 6 hours of quality sleep is better than 9 hours of restless sleep. 9 hours of restless sleep is better than no sleep at all. But getting in that deep, deep, rejuvenating, restorative sleep, and it's got to be a practice. You can't take sleep lightly. You can't take your gut microbe lightly. If you're not feeding the microbiotics, and it has to be done specifically with a wide variety, specifically plant-based foods. Not that they won't consume meat, but they thrive on variety and they thrive on fiber. So if you're not getting in that fiber, you're not going to be truly, truly healthy. Your immune system isn't going to function. That doesn't mean that you can't short-term, and by short-term, that might mean 20 years, that you can't short-term thrive on an all-meat diet. But eventually, it catches up, because again, you're only as healthy as your gut. Your brain is only as healthy as your gut, because the microbiome is intimately connected. It has a conversation with your brain each and every moment. As a matter of fact, some people are, some doctors, some researchers consider the microbiome to be the second brain, if not in some ways the primary brain of the body. It Is What It Is says, I went live last night. I'm sorry I missed that. I was in bed by 7 o'clock. I was drunk, guys. But I was drunk, guys. I'm sorry if you heard me speak. I don't know what I said. Is it still, did you erase it or did you post it? Boy, in my drinking days, I am so glad there was no internet available. Well, there was. I quit in '99, so it was just getting there. Um, Destiny says it is what it is. Your name is popular around these YouTube streets. They only heard great things about you. Um, yeah, I can't imagine anyone not saying something great about Lewis. He's been nothing but supportive to me, to my channel, coming into live sessions, uh, having my back when people come in to trash talk. It is what it is. Says he deleted it. The Jay Jordan shared it, but I don't think anyone saw it. I am sorry that I missed that. He probably talked about the Raiders the entire time. Uh, it is what it is. Says 100%, Eric. I definitely got you back. I appreciate that. Osiris says, Lewis, the Phoenix of Five Pumps, definitely. 2024 is the comeback for so many great athletes that we have here. Big comeback for Brad, big comeback for Paul, big comeback for Richard, and who am I missing? I think one more person. It is what it is. Says they were part of it. Eric, they lost yesterday, so I was upset with the refs, at the refs. But oh well. Hey, it could be worse. I hear that I have a friend who's a Falcons fan. I know nothing about the Falcons other than every week I see him complaining on Facebook. So you have to approach your sleep as a practice. The same way we approach our burpees, the same way we approach our gym sessions, or whatever. If you're watching your diet but you're neglecting sleep hygiene, if you're concentrated on just one aspect of fitness, doing in the physical work, but you're neglecting your sleep hygiene, again, just like the microbiome, you're not going to be healthy. Everything's got to fit together, including your resiliency as well as your emotional health. Everything's tied together like that. If you got to take care of your resiliency and you have to train it. It has to be a practice, and that would be meditation. Meditation, breath work, yoga, it increases your capacity to return to 0 point. So if we're all based at 0 point, and then something happens and we soar up to 100% quickly, we need to be able to return down to 0 point, baseline. The quicker, the smoother that we can do that, the more resilient we are. The better our immune system, the better our blood pressure, the better our ability to handle stress. It is what it is. Says, oh my God, the Lions got screwed big time. And time for fish, chicken, lean turkey, and veggies. Yes, definitely can't forget the veggies. All important. Another thing, Lewis, if you can add in some type of fermented food, it doesn't have to be a lot. If you ever check out Coach Stan John's channel, he's a huge fan of fermented food. He has 1, I believe, tablespoon of sauerkraut every day. You could also have 2 tablespoons of yogurt, or kefir. I know some people say kefir. Odom's Homestead is here. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Odom. Odom has it right. He's growing his own food. I saw him pruning his fig trees. I'm a huge fan of fig trees and the fig plant. Amazing that they actually contain a wasp. Technically speaking, figs, if you eat figs, it's not a vegan food because it contains a wasp or parts of a wasp in it. I think he can make the exception for it. The thing about being vegan is, for me, not causing harm. So you just look at what you're going to eat and you cause as little harm as possible, and you're going to be okay. Let's see. It is what it is. Says, do you guys prefer fruits, veggies, with or without seeds? Actually, doesn't matter to me. Either way. I eat a ton of fruit. Probably my biggest source of calories is from fruit. I might make some changes with that this upcoming year. The problem is that strictly relying on veggies, you limit your calories. If you need to lose some weight, if you want to get leaner, increase your veggies. But for me, calories are a big thing because I have a fairly low calorie diet. Not by choice, just the foods that I eat, low calorie. So, give me 1 second, guys. We'll keep talking. I got a question online from Mocha. Just want to apply. She is signing up for the Air Force half marathon, which she's done before, quite a few times actually. But it's always a big race for her, being retired from the Air Force 23 plus years in. And let's see. We've both been out of commission as far as races are concerned. She's itching to get back in. Me, not so much. I've retreated from the world. I've retreated from races, crowds. I don't know if I can get back to it. I'd like to. Sort of. But I'm a happy recluse. I'm a happy monk. I'm a happy yogi in his basement. Emerging from the basement a little bit at a time. Let's see. Osiris says, Eric, I would really love to hear a discussion between yourself and Old Dog about diets. You know what? I would like to talk to him too about that. We have different approaches, but we, as you actually go on to say, let me finish reading that. You both very different diets and knowledge and can have an intelligent discussion about benefits of each. I've watched a lot of his talks, and we agree on the most important aspects, but we have different means of achieving those aspects. We're both whole foods, although his whole food is more on the carnivorous side. My whole food is more from a plant-based side. Again, for me, I can readily admit, and I think that's why most people who have an opposite dietary approach don't mind talking to me. I can readily admit that the vegan diet probably optimally isn't the healthiest diet. It's not an unhealthy diet, but I think vegans might benefit, well, they wouldn't be vegans, plant-based diet, benefit from having a little bit of lean, organic meat. Very little, especially considering how much we eat. But for me, being an ethical vegan, it's not an option, and I want it not to be an option. It does present some challenges to make sure that I'm getting enough of everything that I need, and I make a point of doing that. As well, environmentally, as Americans, as anyone in the Western Hemisphere, we just simply can't continue to eat the way we do because it's damaging the rest of the world. As well, it causes people to do without. We produce enough whole grain in one state to feed every single starving person in the world. And yet, 90% of it goes to feed cattle so that people in the Western Hemisphere can continue eating the way they do, which means double meat on everything. Meat lovers pizza, double cheeseburgers, double bacon, double cheeseburgers. I'm not necessarily saying that's bad, but if everyone keeps doing that, we're losing our valuable resources. We're losing the integrity of the soil. We are depleting our groundwater, and we are deforesting the vital rainforest of the world, as well as we're simply allowing people to go without so that we can have more. And we just can't do that anymore. If we wake up, if we know that, how can we continue to do that? It's just willfully saying, I would rather have extra bacon than feed a child. That just, I don't imagine anyone in the world knowing those options would continue making that. Not to mention, obviously, how the animals are treated as a commodity nowadays and not as, we're not caregivers. We used to be caregivers for the animals that we gave us life. I know a lot of my Facebook friends say, I'm just part of the circle of life, just part of the cycle of life. You're actually not, because you're not consuming life. You're consuming a piece of meat that was pumped full of chemicals and steroids, hormones, tortured so that it releases fear hormones into its system, and then wrapped in cellophane and kept in the refrigerator for how long, and then you eat it. That's not life. If you want to be part of the circle of life, raise your own food, go to a local farmer, hunt or fish. Then you're part of the circle of life. But I don't want to get on a vegan rant. Although I just got on a vegan rant. Let's see. It is what it is. Says I'm going to start my intermediate fasting diet. The benefits are amazing if you can get to that hill. Intermittent fasting, I still do, but not anywhere near. About 15 hours a day, 14 hours a day. I used to do 18 to 20. For various reasons, I had to reduce it. I'm sorry that I did, as it is what it is. Says there are just so many amazing benefits to intermittent fasting, and there's so many ways of doing it. It doesn't have to be every day. You can do it twice a week. You can fast one day a week and get so many of those benefits. It really is an amazing thing to do. Getting some great facts from Odom's Homestead. The figs most people grow here don't need the wasp to produce figs because we don't have the wasp here. Huh, I didn't know that. Interesting. That's actually good to know. Is it because of climate change that we don't have the wasp? Destiny Forever Walk says it is what it is. Give me all the fruits, veggies, nuts, and seeds right on top of salads. Totally, exactly the way I eat. Totally nutritious and healthy. I have a lot of whole grains, a lot of lentils. Odom Homestead says, I do love a good meat lover's pizza. It is what it is. Says, nice Destiny, sounds very delicious. It is what it is. Says, oh my God, pizza. For those who don't know, Lewis, it is what it is definitely a foodie. He is someone who appreciates, you got to appreciate someone who appreciates what they eat. You know, not just mindlessly consuming something, but truly, truly appreciates the fact that they are eating something that is, one, either good for you, or two, or one and two, tastes good. You know, a lot of times we eat out of habit. We eat because we're bored. We eat because we're stressed. We eat because whatever. And we don't truly appreciate the fact that we get to eat at all. People across the world, and so much that we take for granted, people across the world never have that luxury. To eat because they're bored is unheard of. To be bored, let alone eat when they're bored, is unheard of. Let's see. It is what it is. Says I had my last large a couple days ago from Domino's. It works. Hey, they're starting to make some pretty good vegan pizza. It's been 2 or 3 years since I've had some, and I've heard it's gotten even better. Odom's Homestead says, no, figs are from the Mediterranean where they have the wasp. Huh, interesting. They say that in all probability, it was actually a fig, historically, biblically historically, that got Adam kicked out of the Garden of Eden. That it certainly wasn't an apple, as they didn't have apples there. But it might have been a pomegranate, or it might have been a fig, which is interesting. To get kicked out of the Garden of Eden for a fig. Who would have thought? Odom says figs are in the Bible. They are. And it's funny how, we talk about an apple, and as far as I know, apples were not found in the Mideast. So, I don't know. Destiny says, it is what it is. I was a big fan. Piece of meat lover. Now I just eat roasted and sauteed veggies on mine. Yep. Now Mocha is a vegan pizza connoisseur. So if you ever want to ask what's a good vegan pizza, although I don't imagine it is what it is going to ask Mocha for what a good vegan pizza is. So, I'm off of my vegan rant. I honestly think the way to go isn't being a vegan for most people, but to be plant-based. Plant-based means that you include meat, smaller portions. It doesn't make up the majority of your plate. It makes up a small portion, and that's the way the Blue Zone people, the healthiest people who live the longest, it's how they eat. Mostly fish, very, very little meat, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. Celebratory occasions, but mostly whole grains, nuts, plant food, veggies, fruit. That seems to be the best way to go. And you're feeding the microbiome, which again is all important. If you consider the fact, again, that we are made up more from microbacteria, from microbes, than we are human cells, it only makes sense to take that in consideration in our diet. They thrive on fermented food, and it doesn't take a whole lot. You really need to, if you eat a lot of junk, you need to reintroduce the variety of vegetables, the variety of whole grains, quality nuts, specifically cashews. The microbes are very fond of cashews, Brazil nuts, almonds, and just a little bit of fermented food. And this is New Year's. If you started that today, in a year's time, every aspect of your life would be improved. People might think that's a bold statement, except that our focus, our concentration, our creativity is linked to brain function. Our brain is in direct communication with the microbes, with the microbiome. A constant, continuous conversation between the two. And again, researchers have said that the microbiome is actually the second brain, probably the most important brain of the body itself. So if you want to increase your mental ability, your resiliency, your emotional health, you feed the biome, you feed the microbiome. And then you got to start thinking about your emotional and spiritual well-being, which is linked with all that as well. Meditation, breath work, a little bit of yoga or qigong or tai chi, something softer than what most people do. Most people make that New Year's resolution: I'm going to hit the gym, I'm going to get 16-inch arms, I'm going to bench 300 pounds. All great goals. But they are goals of diminishing returns as we get older. And guess what? No matter who you are, you're getting older. So set those goals. Bench 300 pounds, but take care of your joints as you're doing it. Get those 16-inch biceps, but take care of the microbiome as you're doing it. Squat 400 pounds, run an ultra marathon, but take care of your spiritual and emotional health while you do it. It only takes a little bit of meditation each day. Breath work takes even less. You can do your breath work 3 sessions a day, 3 minutes each, and you get all the benefits. You get all the benefits of meditation in 3 minutes of breath work, 5 minutes of breath work. For those who say they can't focus, we're always focused. The breath is always going. So we can always focus on the breath for 3 or 5 minutes. Easy to do, especially if you introduce a mudra, if you're doing Nadi Chandra, if you're doing alternative nostril breathing, then you're getting the mindfulness aspect of using the hand gestures. You're getting the health benefits of pranayama, breath work. Pranayama is the energy of existence. No prana, no existence. The Realist McCoy is here. Peace, everyone. Eric in chat room. Hey, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Let's see. Destiny says that thanks for the advice and tips, Eric, on setting goals. Great idea, an important one. Thank you. And, you know, like I said, I knew when I saw you pop in that this was a conversation that you'd have a lot to add as well, because diet and well-being, that's the street you live on. That's your thing. That's what you do. So again, I always like the term well-being because it's all inclusive. It leaves absolutely nothing out. If we talk about health, we start thinking one aspect. I can go jogging and I'll be healthier. I can have oatmeal. I can have Cheerios in the breakfast and I'll lower my blood pressure. I can eat some vegetables a couple times a week and I'll be healthier. All of those are true. That doesn't make you healthy. It makes you healthier. Well-being is all inclusive, and well-being doesn't leave anything out at all. It includes your spiritual life. It includes your emotional life. It includes your mental focus. It includes your goal setting. It includes your diet, strength training, cardio health, resiliency, sleep hygiene. Nothing is left out. And if you're not addressing all of those, sounds overwhelming. It doesn't have to be, because everything feeds in together. Absolutely everything feeds in together. If you start taking care of your sleep hygiene, you start feeling better, and you start looking for other ways to feel even better. You start making these little micro changes in your life. Micro changes are everything. You don't need to wake up January 1st and say, my New Year's resolution is to do all this. Make little continuous micro changes. I'm constantly changing aspects of my diet, changing aspects of my sleep hygiene, changing aspects of my workouts to make everything flow a little better, so that I don't have to all of a sudden focus on one thing. So I don't have to wake up one day and realize that my blood pressure is through the roof because I was doing all this to get stronger, but I missed taking care of my heart. I missed addressing the stress. And it's not the stress that we think about that gets us. It's not those stressful days that we have one day at work. Super stressed. Man, I better do something about it. It's that low-level stress that we don't notice. It's like when you're out somewhere and you hear that bass music playing somewhere and it's been going on for a while and you just then notice it, and it had been going on for quite some time. And it has an effect. So many things that we can do that listen to classical music for 30 minutes a day and your life will change. It's just simple things. Let's see. Sarah says, I love that, Eric. Best to change course so slowly you don't notice. On day you realize you're going in the direction of a goal. Exactly. Um, Little tiny micro changes. Like I was saying about introducing some type of fermented food, a tablespoon. And I can't take credit for that. Coach Stan John constantly talks about it on his channel. Little things that you do. 10 years ago, I used to listen to Coach Stan John. He never talked about meditation. He never talked about fermented food. He never talked about sleep hygiene. Listen to him now, and he's 64, I believe, and he talks about that all the time. Not just strength work, although if you want good strength training program, Coach Stan John is the way to go. But he realized that to continue doing what he loves to do, which is training and also stepping on the platform. He's an Olympic lifter, he's a Highland Game athlete, he's a track and field athlete. Still at 64, he does all that because he takes care of his health. He takes care of his emotional health. He takes care of his well-being. That's the important thing. I see too little of that nowadays because we live in a very specialized age that I'm a strength athlete. I'm a ultra runner. I'm a marathon runner. I'm a whatever. I'm a vegan. I'm a carnivore. Everything is specialized. And again, I'm admitting the fact that my diet is highly specialized. It is so for a reason. A reason that I've made that compromise with myself. That I would much rather live the ideal of a ethical vegan and then working extra hard to make sure that I take care of any gaps that might be in my diet. Now, a yogic diet is a vegetarian diet, and they'll include maybe some eggs. They include a little bit of dairy. I'd rather, if I had to make a choice, I'd rather add eggs into my diet than dairy for sure. There's absolutely no reason for us to consume dairy. There was at one time when we were kids, but not any longer. Just my opinion on that. I know others see things differently, but I know so many people who only made one dietary change, and that was getting rid of the dairy, and all of a sudden, in a matter of days, they're breathing better, they're thinking clearer. Dairy produces a whole lot of phlegm, which decreases our capacity to breathe deeply and clearly, which affects how we think. Less oxygen, taking in less prana, less energy. We're going to be in that slight brain fog, and we don't even realize it until we stop. And then all of a sudden, there's that aha moment, which is the same when we start feeding the microbiome. All of a sudden, these little issues that were nagging us that we take for granted as just getting older, all start feeling better. Everything's tied to the microbiome. Everything's tied to sleep. Everything is tied to resiliency. So these are the things, if you're looking to make some changes for the New Year's, think in terms of well-being. Don't think in terms of aspect goals, or at least not so exclusively. You're going to be in much better shape. If you want to bench 300 pounds, you're going to be in much better shape having a healthy body, getting proper sleep, taking care of your emotional health, than if you just focus on getting that 300-pound bench press. If you run an ultra marathon, it's the same thing. Take care of your ability to recover from training session to training session. Take care of your immune system. I have an ultra running friend who doesn't have a very good diet, doesn't do the little things. Every year around this time, he gets the flu and he ends up losing 6 to 8 weeks of training time, being sick and then getting those miles back that he had been missing, shoring up the base that was knocked down a few pegs. But if you take care of all those little things, if you shore up the foundation, then you're good to go. You're good to go on all those big goals that you would like to achieve, because you can rely, you have a very solid health foundation that you can count on, that you can rely on. Destiny says that Eric, I feel everything in life begins with breath. You couldn't have made a truer statement. It's not even that everything in life begins with breath. Everything in life is breath. If we think of breath as prana, energy, everything in life is energy. Life itself is prana. Without prana, no life. Simple as that. If we cultivate the breath, we cultivate prana. We cultivate our ability to express greater amounts of energy. Everything begins with the breath, as our friend Destiny says. And there's so many great avenues of exploring health through our ability to breathe. I've been trying to introduce it different. Now I keep introducing different pranayama styles, methods after my burpee session. However, you don't need the variety that I'm putting out there. That's just to catch people's imagination, and they would say, well, I wouldn't mind doing this. 3 breath sessions a day, therapeutically as needed. So in the morning, you would do a more energetic breath to help you get going, to improve your digestive system, to detox, open up the lungs, improve your ability to take in prana and release prana. In the afternoon, you would have an even session. Doesn't bring you too far up, doesn't bring you too far down. Increases your focus so you can go through the day, increases your resiliency, reduces your stress level so that you can shrug stuff off. You can shrug off the stressors that happen through the course of a day, and it keeps you threading that line between the fight and flight nervous state and the rest and digest, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. You want to be fluid in how you approach that. You need to sometimes step into that fight or flight zone, but you need to have the ability to come back when you want to into the rest and digest. You need to be able to shift from that parasympathetic to the parasympathetic easily and by choice. And then by evening, you want a sleep hygiene breathing session. You want something that reduces all that stress to the point that it's negligible. I'm not even going to try to say that one more time. You want to be able to reduce it until it's no longer an issue, and prepares you to sleep through the night, to be able to ride that sleep wave. That, you know, sleep is it's not a constant thing. We go through those cycles of sleep, and each one is important. You need to be able to ride through all of those cycles until you're ready to wake up in the morning. So, big stuff. It seems big stuff, but it isn't. As Derek was saying, micro changes. And it's a web. Remember the original spelling of weird, W-Y-R-D, literally means web of life. How everything is an expression of one thing, and one thing is an expression of everything. You make one little change, and the entire web of your being vibrates with health, vibrates with well-beingness, vibrates with vitality. But if you don't do those things, the web just starts to disintegrate. And then you tug on it, and it's dust in the hand. Gets you nowhere. So, guys, coming up in 45 minutes, talked for a little bit longer than I thought I was going to. I apologize. But I appreciate you being here, each and every one of you. I'm always happy to talk about any of this stuff with anyone. and to help in any way. If you want to get set up on a meditation program, I'm here to help. If you want to do some breath work, if you want to do some yoga, um, I tell people that, I'm a certified meditation instructor, meditation teacher. I am a certified breath coach. Um, I am not a certified asana yoga teacher, but I am a yoga teacher. Asanas themselves are just a very slim portion of yoga. In the 195 Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, it's mentioned 3 times. It's important, but not the most important. However, I am almost finished a 200-hour yoga asana teaching certification. But I think yoga, and it's taken me a while to get here, pare it down to essential postures that cover the most ground. The fun thing with yoga is the variety of things that you can do. But the core of yoga, steadiness and ease, and that's what Patanjali says in the Yoga Sutras, that a true asana, a true posture doesn't begin until you've been able to match your breath with the posture and you've achieved that steadiness and that sense of ease within the motion itself. So you can pick 3 to half dozen postures to work through for a lifetime and get the maximum benefits of yoga. And then remember, when I say yoga, I'm also talking about the entire system, Ashtanga Yoga, the 8-limb path of yoga, where it talks beginning with ethics, both broadly speaking and individually speaking, all the way to samadhi, enlightenment. You got to work the whole path if you want to be a yogi. If you want to be a yogi in his basement, you got to work the whole path. That's why I spend so much time in my basement. It's easier for me to address my ethical concerns when I'm alone in my basement. I'm a much friendlier person. Only joking about that. I'm actually a good-natured person to begin with. However, the older I get, the more I appreciate that alone time. So, guys, I'm rambling now. Again, I appreciate you being here. Happy New Year. And again, I'm happy to help anyone who needs help. So thanks again. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.